Hello, everybody. So in 2015, Sarah and David came to my church in Virginia, and they were giving a presentation about their love story. And that's I just went through a painful breakup. So like their testimony encouraged me a lot. And one of Sarah's painting is called "In the Waiting." It's right there. This yellow one, the little boat right here. I think this one spoke to me. Before that, I felt waiting is something very boring, something you just had to get through. But from that painting, I feel a lot of warmth and love and hope in the waiting. So they encourage me a lot when I have a rough time. And so it brought me peace, and I decided to trust God for the right person and for the right time, not my time. But I never know a painting could speak to you, to speak to me that deeply, so powerfully. And the following year, I got a call from my mom, and she told me that they're in China. I was here in Virginia, and my dad had cancer, and it has spread throughout his body. So my church in Virginia, they raised money so I can fly back to China and care for him. But before I left, one of the sisters in my fellowship, she's a good friend with Sarah, and she gifted me one of the paintings, this one. So loose, and it's hanging in my bedroom. So I brought it here today. You can see it's a big painting, so shipping is troublesome and stuff. So we made a special trip. Me and the sister and the other friends, so we drove to Pennsylvania, and we visit Sarah and David. And we hiked Falls Trail, and we shared stories. And I remember vividly still when they were sharing and they mentioned the worship song. If I remember correctly, it's How Great Thou Art. And they just started to sing, right there. And I just feel like I was in a movie or something. And their love for each other, their love for us was in the song, and you can feel it. And that's the time I also start to know Sarah used her painting to tell her stories, to tell the past. So after that, I kind of realized God was using that trip to prepare my heart for my battle back in China, because that was the last 3 months I spent with my dad in the hospital, and I need a lot of support. I need lots of hope and encouragement. And then I came back to the United States with my mom, aunt, and uncle. And my dad just passed away, so they wanted a change of scenery, so they came to the United States with me for a visit. And of course, we visited Pennsylvania, and Sarah and David hosted us. And Sarah just shared more of her stories. My mom and uncle and aunt, they're the same generation as Sarah. So they went through a lot of things that I have no idea, like poverty, starvation, and Cultural Revolution. So they have lots in common. They have a lot more to share. So I learned more about her story. And I just feel like she is Sarah is so brave to share her stories of her dad and of her past. And it's very hard to face the past and try to find healings and find beauties from that. And she did not bury the past, that she chose to face them and to paint them and to share story of healing and to other people. And later that year, that's the end of 2016, I met my husband. It's right there, and we became engaged in 2017. And Sarah and David were the first person came to my mind for marriage counseling. So it just happened that he lives in Williamsburg, and they're in North End, the driving distance. So I moved to Pennsylvania. So I know God is preparing us, putting all the different pieces together. Now we're here and very close to them. So every time we visit Sarah, she would shower me with tons of snacks and gifts, just out of nowhere. And you can clearly see her love, her passion for flowers, for animals, and for people. All God's creation, they're all reflected in her paintings. And sometimes I just wonder, because I know lots of her stories, and how can she paint with such passion, such colors? And after she went through all the things to go through, it was all dark and painful, but she just come out this beautiful things. So God is truly bringing out beauty from ashes. And then in July 2025, so another Sarah's painting spoke to me, and that was so Caleb back then was like about 14 months, and I was thinking about like stop breastfeeding him, but I don't know how or exactly when. But I was just scrolling on Facebook and I saw one of Sarah's paintings pop up. It's called Weaning. So and then I just and she had also had an explanation, the story behind it. She was talking about like weaning is not like the end of a relationship, but it's the beginning of a new kind of relationship. The baby, like they grow up and they trust you more. You have a different kind of connection. So I just know that God was using that painting, spoke to me, and I know like I just do it that day. So that's the last day I met him. And then I had to share this story with Sarah, so I texted her, I told her the story. And then in the afternoon, she sent me this picture right here. So this one. So that's Caleb in my arm, and not like the original painting was a baby with like a no face, so just a general baby means like spiritual growth. But now we have a painting of Caleb in my arm. So and then later we get together, my husband, my daughter, and son, and Sarah, David, and we hiked the bear trail this time. If you did not go to Rick's Glen, it's really good at all the trails. So our kids are too small for Falls Trail, but I mean maybe someday we'll go to Falls Trail all together again. So I think Sarah paints from her heart, and through her art, she points people to God's healing, hope, and faithfulness. And she has taught me that our past is not something to hide or to be ashamed of, and instead we can bring our wounds to God, find healing, and allow Him to use our stories to encourage others. And I'm very thankful for how God has used Sarah and David, their lives to shape mine. Thank you.